Let's talk about the Moon and Sixpence. The writer accepted the commission of Mrs. Charles. He came to Paris to investigate and follow Charles, and advised him to change his mind. But when he knew the truth, he was very depressed. He felt unable to complete his mission. So before he returned to Paris, he had dinner with Charles. He had been observing Charles throughout the process. He was so curious about this person. He found that Charles didn't seem to care about everything in Paris. This is Paris. Many people are particularly excited to come to Paris because this is a colorful world. The writer himself has been to Paris hundreds of times, but every time I feel like I can't sleep at night. But Charles was not moved by it. He seems to care nothing about what he sees in Paris. It's like she's seeing something that no one else can see. But those things disturbed his soul. A ridiculous thing happened while the two of them were in the tavern. This is particularly interesting. A prostitute met Charles, sitting next to them. Say it politely. "Can you buy me a drink?" She was chatting with the writer, but the writer knew that the prostitute was targeting Charles. The writer told Charles, "Hey, he wants you to take him home." Charles replied, "I don't need any women." The writer found Charles very rude and impolite, so he tried to tell the prostitute tactfully, "Oh, because he has no money. That's why I refused you." But the prostitute said, "Oh, tell him I like him for love." So the writer had to translate the prostitute's words to Charles. Charles shrugged impatiently. He said, "Tell him, let him go to hell." The writer's heart is broken down. Is it necessary to insult him like this? No matter what. He did this because he thought highly of you. Charles said roughly, "This kind of thing makes me sick." The writer looked at Charles curiously. We finally know what Charles looks like. There was indeed a look of disgust on his face, but this face, crude, full of sensuality. He is not handsome. He's not young. He's not spiritual either, said the writer. I guess the girl must have been attracted by his brutality. Charles added, I'm in London. What kind of woman haven't you seen? Paris is not about this. Charles has such a firm attitude. The writer believed from the bottom of his heart the reason why he came to Paris. Really for painting. But why does he paint? Is he trying to get rid of his previous very boring and trivial life? Writers don't think so. We don't think so. But we still feel that we rely on you. You're cool, but you are difficult to understand. That's because of the writer's romance. He gave an explanation. This is also a very interesting style in the book Moon and Sixpence. That is, Maugham will use a lot of explanations to complain and express his opinions.